It is March 31st, 2019. We're going to take a look at bus 1101, which is being offered for sale. Here it is. Here's the rear end. We'll go ahead and open up the engine compartment and check the oil before we head out for a test drive. I'll put the camera down for a sec. There we go. Need a two-hand this. Okay, here's the engine compartment. We'll review the maintenance records a little later, but this is a Reliabuilt Series 60. That means that it was remanufactured by Detroit Diesel. Inland Power Group of Butler, Wisconsin put it in for us, and not sure what else to say about it. As you can see, the turbo pipe is new. This bus has got a whole bunch of, again, we'll look at the maintenance records later, but there's a lot of stuff that's new in this. The fan gearbox is new, the radiator is new, and by new I mean replaced by us in the last couple of years. And generally everything is in just tip-top shape here. Of course the engine's a little rusty, that's just the way it goes. Let me grab a rag to check the oil. Okay, so we change the oil in this baby every, gotta put the camera down, every 10,000 miles. Okay, here we go. Oil level looking good. Never want to start an engine without checking the oil first. The probability that something's gone wrong with the oil since you last parked it is very low. However, the cost is extreme if something does go wrong while the vehicle's parked. Over here we've got the coolant tank. Sight glass is good and clear. Got plenty of coolant, and all our belts appear to be in good order. We are we tend to replace tensioners and idlers more often than they need to be replaced because the consequences of downtime are frustration and expense, and we try to avoid that whenever we can. Alright, well, enough of me babbling by the engine compartment. Go ahead and start this baby up. I guess we could leave that open. Why not? In the side here we've got the toilet tank. You can see that there's two tanks. There's an upper tank and a lower tank, and so when you're on an extended trip you can drop the upper tank into the lower tank and refill the upper tank with liquid and have a nice non-smelly bathroom for the duration of your trip. The bottom tank holds 2 or more dumps of the top tank. Very handy. As long as we're going along the side here, we might as well look in here too. So I'll pull it outside and we'll get a better look at the body. This is the electrical compartment, and the batteries are fresh. I can't really make out the tabs. They're the tabs. I can't see them well enough myself to read them, but this battery should be a year or less old. These batteries should be a year or less old, and everything's in good shape here. I guess we could look at the condenser. Here's the little knob that you pull to release the condenser door. Requires 2 hands though. There we go. Here's the condenser. It's in good shape. No corrosion at the bottom. Close it back up. Okay. And then I'm kind of doing this tour out of order. Here's the luggage bay, the 3rd luggage bay. I'll do this once we're out in the light. So we'll go ahead and start it up now. Battery on. Okay. Oil pressure's up. No smoke. If you can hear me, I said no smoke. That's a good thing. Okay, so it's been sitting here for quite a while. We're waiting for the air pressure to come up. The beeping sound, of course, is the low air pressure warning. Opposed to the tag axle up one. So I'm going to go close the engine door. I'll be right back. Closed. This bus is equipped with a pretty fancy air seat. It's been in here since I think this was purchased in about 2015. The drivers really like it. Okay, so air pressure is coming up. Close the door. Got our brake air pressure at about 100. Accessory air is catching up with that. And I'll just go ahead and back it out. Brake released. Got it in reverse. Gotta back out real slowly so that we don't topple the wash machine here. Sometimes the hoses get stuck on the antennae. This bus is equipped with a combination GPS cellular antenna, and we've got a GPS unit in it right now that sends position and velocity every 30 seconds. I guess we could leave it in, but it uses our own custom software on the other end, so I'm not sure it would be useful. However, the antenna is already installed for whatever gear you want to add. As you can see, our situation's a little tight here. We've got 60 feet between the two buildings. And so, turning a 45-foot bus around with one hand is a little more challenging than you might think. Okay, so we got some pretty good light here. I guess we could start in here. The headlights work, of course. The roller shades work fine. Driver's window works fine. The cruise control is currently disabled, but could be reconnected by putting a wire back onto a circuit breaker. We disconnected it because, I don't know, I kind of feel like it's a safety hazard. And it has a tag lift valve here. Oops, ignition's not on. Let's get the steering wheel out of the way. Okay, there we go. So that is an indication that the tag axle is lifted. That's pretty handy for making tight turns and whatnot. And then there's this low buoy thing here, which allows you to drop the whole bus down to get under a low bridge. But we removed the plumbing for that because it just adds places where air can leak, and it doesn't really serve any purpose. So we pulled that out. And then here we have a Keller ELD. I guess we'll include that in the sale unless the buyer has no use for it. Air horn works, electric horn works, wipers work well, and we have a dash cam here. Usually I take the dash cams out, but I might be willing to leave that in. We'll have to talk about that. Glass is in good shape. Squirting it didn't really help. There is a little nick here. And then we just replaced this eyebrow glass a little while ago, and it developed a crack already, like 2 weeks after we put it in. So I guess I got some defective glass. I don't currently plan to replace that because it would require a trip up north, but if the buyer wants it replaced, it could be done for about $250. And this eyebrow glass has got a little chip that's been there since I bought it. And then we got this little problem over here. The side glass, when the weather changed, the side glass fogged up, and that will be replaced before purchase, before it's sold, or will compensate the purchaser for the cost of replacing that, I guess. The front area here has been cleaned up very nicely. The pillars have been repainted. Typically these pillars are quite filthy in a bus this age, and I guess I could turn the engine off. You can see that the parcel rack doors are in good shape. Some of the struts are a little weaker than others, but a few years ago we went through and replaced all the bad ones. This one's a little weak, but it does the job. Yeah, that one's weak. Little weak. Whoa, that's a strong one. Well, that's because it's got a little door to push up. So you can see all the doors are in good shape. Couple little cracks at the corners, but none of the doors are flying apart. These doors are really expensive. This compartment's a little filthy. Got a step in it. Schedules. It does have a video system, DVD and VHS. And then there's our GPS unit. And we've got two routers here, one for ticket scanners and one for Wi-Fi. And I don't really have any reason to not leave the routers in place. The Wi-Fi router is connected to this little USB stick here, and I think I'd probably prefer to hang on to the USB stick, but I could potentially sell the USB stick for about $40, I suppose. I guess I should just throw it in. What the hell? It's only $40. It's for use with T-Mobile. I believe it might also work with AT&T. As you can see, the seats are in good condition. The floor is in good condition. There are no cuts that I'm aware of in the floor. No welts or anything like that. It's just intact. One really awesome feature is this floor mat, doormat at the front of the bus. It was pretty expensive, about $300, and well worth every penny of it because it keeps people from tracking dirt into the bus, which means a lot less cleaning effort is necessary. Here's the bathroom, and so you'll notice that the bathroom light is on. We have this thing wired so that when the aisle lights are on, the bathroom light is also on. That makes it a lot easier to clean. And it's got this dispenser thing here. We've never used that since we bought it. And we don't generally fill the water tank or use the sink. So I can't really comment on whether the water system works. Flushes just fine. So I'm the one that cleans these things, and I'm not aware of any defects in the seat upholstery. It's all in really good shape. Here's the driver area. Steps, all in good shape. So let's see, we got the engine off. I'll go ahead and close the door and do a walk around. Okay, so here we are at the front. The luggage door, the fenders and luggage doors all the way down the side were repainted with Imron High Gloss in summer of 2013. The reflective strips are all new, the handles are all new, and by handles I mean the lower handles. And it's painted with Imron. It's not high gloss, it's sort of satin. So the bus looks pretty darn good. There is there's a little defect on the other side. So we've got aluminum wheels all the way around, Yokohama tires at the front. These tires have really good tread. That much tread. They're pretty new. Those are good tires. We used to put Michelins on everything, but the Michelin pricing just got out of control. And the Yokohamas handle really well. They're nice and quiet, and they're substantially cheaper. So now we use Yokohamas. Little tiny scratch on the back here. I'll go ahead and open the luggage compartments to show you the skirt rails. We usually carry two spares with us, there's the spare. It's creaking a little bit. That's new. We carry two spares with us, one behind the front bumper and one in the fourth luggage compartment. So as you can see, the luggage compartment's in good shape. In this one, there's a little tiny bit of aluminum corrosion on the bottom edge of the wall. That's just the skin corroding. It's not frame corrosion. Same thing here. There's a little dust along the bottom there. The skirt rails are straight. A lot of buses, you'll see the skirt rails bowed up because drivers have turned into snow piles and things. We've turned into a couple snow piles, but pretty obsessive about keeping things in good shape, so when that's happened, we've replaced the skirt rail right away. So this luggage compartment's a little dirty. We don't use it for luggage. Here's a spare, and we're not including both spares with the bus. I think what we're going to do is take the spare out from the bumper and put it here, and we'll keep the spare. We'll keep one of the two spares. The spares are Yokohama tires, brand new, full tread, and we like to keep a steel spare in here because the steel wheel could be used on an inner on the drive axle. It could be used on the steer. It could be used as an outer, and so we keep it in the luggage compartment because if we want to make a fast repair, it's a lot easier to get to in the luggage compartment than under the bumper. I don't know how this dirt got on the gravel guard. I just washed this thing. Okay, so working our way back here. This fender's got a tiny little scratch in it. Did that piss me off? Yes. Now these tires, these are Michelin's, and they don't really have quite as much tread left. These will need to be replaced in a little while. They're legal now. I'm not really sure how many miles they've got left. Maybe 20,000, maybe 10. And we use these less expensive Road Lux tires on the tag axles. We used to move our drives to the tag axle. When the drives were getting close to being worn out, we'd move them to the tag axle. But the labor cost of moving tires that are just about worn out to the tag axles and burning them up there just was prohibitive. And we didn't want to burn up, $450 or $700 tires on the tag axle. So we switched to these Road Lux. They're about $300. They only last about half as long as a tire on the drive axle, but I think it's still a pretty good deal. We've never had one come apart. We tried using retreads on the tag axle, and my God, that is just the worst thing you can do. The tag axle gets dragged around corners, and that application is not really compatible with retreads. So the glass is all in good shape. I think there's a little place where there's some transfer from a sign, where we rubbed against a sign that might be on the other side. And we've got a few obligatory tree scratches on the black back here, but what are you going to do? This gravel guard here has got some scratches on it from hitting the wall in the wash bay when it's open, but everything else looks pretty good. Bumper was, I believe we repainted the bumper back in 2013. It's in good shape. This ass door was off and sanded and repainted. It's in really good shape. Last time I checked the price for this part, it was $10,500 for an ass door. So you're getting a good ass door. No problems with the rear. This door here is actually new. We were parked over at Lowe's. This bus is really good for transporting large appliances. We were parked at Lowe's and some knucklehead in a box truck made a too sharp a turn, and he clipped this door with his bumper. So this is a new door, compliments of his insurance company, $4,500 for that door. And obviously when we put that on, we put new gravel guards on and everything. But one of my drivers did this on November 25th. He backed up, he said he backed up and hit a curb, but there would be damage to the exhaust system if he had done that, and there's not. So I'm not really sure how he did this, but the bottom edge of it is missing for about 8 inches there. And that's kind of on that was on my list of things to repair, but at this point I'm not going to do that. Just a little black touch-up paint will make this look good. This is the rear electrical box, electrical compartment. Take a look here. One of the things we did when we bought this bus is we immediately replaced all of the relays. That was a few years ago. And it's not really much to say about this compartment. There's a couple spare relays there. Everything looks just like it should. Okay, so the left tag tire is getting kind of thin. Maybe it's got 10 or 20,000 miles. That's about how much tread there is. That's Road Lux again. And then we got Michelin's here that they should have the same tread as the other side, because they were put on at the same time as the other side. And you can see that the body's good and straight here. Now there is one little defect. This was here when we bought it. There's this kind of welt here. And what we did is we put this under, well, so there was a welt, and then we put some, what do you call it, not Bondo, but body filler in it, and smoothed it out. And this was hidden by the vinyl signage on the side of it. You know, we just positioned a letter so that the body of the letter was on that. There's really no good reason to repaint the whole signboard if you're going to put vinyl on it and you can hide the defect with the vinyl. And so again, this whole band was repainted in 2013 with Imron High Gloss. We actually had all of the doors off, all of the panels were off for that repaint, and got all new gravel guards, all new reflective strips along here. Perfect shape on this side as far as I can tell. Oh, got a little rock chip here in the black paint easily. Okay, so my camera just quit. It stops recording at 30 minutes, and I didn't realize it had stopped, so I continued talking. I just wanted to point out that the parcel racks, the gray fabric on the parcel racks, was steam cleaned last summer, and it really looks great compared to A, what it looked like before, and B, what buses, similar buses of this vintage look like. These parcel racks are in really good shape. They're very clean. Also, when we put these little USB outlets in, we replaced about $1,100 worth of these panels here. So you won't find a whole bunch of cracks in these panels. They're not falling apart. They're in really good shape. And I guess it's time to take the test drive. Okay. So this thing was sitting in the wash bay, and we pulled it outside. It's about 32 degrees, 35 degrees. Oh, here. 35 degrees. The little flashing icon means that we're close to freezing, and that's an alert for the driver. It tells them, you know, be careful on bridges and whatnot. Okay, so turn the noise level down just a little bit. Alright, that's cool. Put my seatbelt on. This bus has got a good strong AC. No chronic problems with HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, cooling, or air conditioning, heating, ventilation, air conditioning. So there's a backup alarm. I'm not sure the video camera's picking it up, but I can hear it. Okay, so I'm going to lift the tag axle tire to decrease my turning radius. Okay. Just lifted the tag axle tires, the tag axle, whatever you want to call it. Green light. That never happens. So the suspension's in really good shape. As I mentioned before, we replaced all the airbags a little while back. It's possible that let's get through this intersection here. You never know if people are going to stop there or not. We also replaced the radius, the bushings in the radius rods, and oh, I don't know, we just stay on top of suspension stuff, so there's not a lot of rattling and clatter in the front end of this bus. It steers nicely. There is a little bit of play in the steering gearbox. It hasn't really been a problem. So I guess we'll get on Interstate 74 west and go one exit west and come back. Plenty of acceleration. I'm not exactly flooring it or anything, but it's got plenty of power. If you want to drive it hard, you can. Of course, I don't let my drivers do that. We might do a fast acceleration here just to prove the point that it's got a good strong engine, but you don't want to do this to your bus often. Okay, so we'll get around this curve here. I think I'll just take it slow to the second curve, then I'll floor it. you want your buses to take care of you, you have to take care of your buses, that's for sure. So 25 miles per hour, 1400 RPM. Coming around the turn. Turn signal on. Here we go. Gas pedal floored. And I think we have the engine computer set to max out at 71 miles per hour, so don't be disappointed when we don't get it up to 80. There we go, we hit the limit. So it's about 72, 73 miles an hour is where the engine governor is set. One thing that's handy about that is that it's essentially like cruise control. You can just bury the gas pedal and know that you're never going to go more than 72. Obviously that number can be changed. All you need is a ProLink, or you can make a quick visit to a truck stop and change that number. I don't really know what the top speed of one of these buses is. So it's a fairly windy day today. Might have heard the wind noise on the camera mic earlier. So I'll hold the camera up and show you a view of the passenger compartment. Probably be buffeted a little less if I had both hands on the wheel. Whoa. So I'll probably edit out some of this driving out to the first exit because it doesn't really add much. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. You'll be able to tell if I do. So this is how much of a crosswind I have. I'm having to hold about 30 degrees of left turn in to counter the crosswind. Mirrors are electric. There's the control knob. The flat panel is electric. The convex mirrors are not remote controlled, but you don't really need to move those too often. Mirrors are about $400 for the whole head. From Ramco Engineering in, I think, Goshen, Indiana. We tend to keep a spare left and right head around. That way if a driver creams something, we're back up and running right away. Doesn't happen too often. But when it does happen, it's usually during the busy season. I don't know if I should fiddle with the radio while I'm driving. It works. There's a microphone there. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3, testing. The thing you need to know about the PA system is you have to key the mic and then wait about 3 seconds before you start speaking. That's how long it takes the PA PA system to activate. It usually takes the tour guide a little while to get used to that. Not sure why the manufacturer set it up that way. So since I'm driving with one hand and holding a camera in the other hand, I'm not going to attempt to tune in a station or anything like that. We do have these wires here hanging out of the dash. Those are for connection to an XM or Sirius or whatever you call it device. So the wiring's already in place if you want to use satellite radio. Thank you. Alright, so we're holding at 72 or 73 or 72 and a half. Temperature is still pegged on the low end. Good oil pressure. Little turbo boost for cruising, so wouldn't expect more than that. Odometer says 240523. I'll type up the information from the maintenance book and put it in the listing. So my plan here at this exit, oh, there's stuff on the seat. My plan is to make a hard stop to demonstrate the brakes and the fact that they don't pull. There's going to be some stuff landing on the floor when I do that though. This stuff. I won't really have another chance to do this on the way back, so here we go. 70 miles an hour. When we get to the straight part, well, there's not much of a straight part. So we're going 50 miles an hour. Hard brake. Brakes work great. Didn't get any pulling in the steering wheel at all. That's surprising. The shoebox stayed on the seat. So I'd say that I went from 50 miles an hour to 0 in about, a bus length there. Maybe bus length and a half. Good brakes. Alright. I think what I'll do is cut the video and then head back to to a surface street, and we'll do a little. I don't know if you noticed how bumpy the road was there, but we didn't really get much in the way of suspension rattle or anything like that. So I'll go back into town and we'll drive on some surface streets so that you can get a sense of how it behaves in, sort of stop and go traffic. Then I'll go take still photos and put her away. So now that I'm headed back, you can see that I have symmetric crosswind correction in the other direction. So it's really windy today. Okay, we're back into town. This exit is a little straighter than the other exits. I've got nobody behind me. 65 miles an hour. Wow. That was quite a stop. I'd say 2 bus lengths. No pulling on the steering wheel. I didn't exactly push the brake as hard as I could, because I have to admit I get a little bit of a head rush when I make these hard stops, and I don't like that. So I was a little more cautious than I wanted to be. Okay, so now we're in town. The road here is terrible. So the blinds up there tend to make a little noise. The noise that you hear is the blind rattling. But what you don't hear is bushings rattling in the suspension. So I'm driving rather conservatively here. Not a lot of gas. Easy braking. So it has a lot of undulations in it. Accidentally bumped the button on the camera when I was getting ready to make that turn back there. Oops. So we'll head back north on the 4-lane street. I will end this video, I guess, at the point where we merge onto the interstate. Not sure what else there is to say. So again, this is a road that is in just really awful shape for the winter. And you can hear it's that rod over there that makes the rattling noise. The rod on the A-post for the window blinds. But there's no clunking in the front end. The suspension is really good. There's the lot. Maybe you can see it better now that there's the bright sun. Okay, here we go. I'm going to do full throttle on this launch. Shifts are nice and smooth and quiet. Back off because this Audi in front of me is change lanes. I feel like the Winnebago Blues Brothers with the throttle stuff. Alright, so I guess that's it for the test drive. Everything you wanted to know and more. I'll snap some still photos and include those in the listing. It is March 31st, 2019, and the chickens are back at Farm and Fleet. There are 6 tubs full of them. Apparently they sell for about $3. Barbecue sauce is over in housewares. I didn't see any ducks though.
Trying to get out.
I don't see any ducks. Main reason I come here is for the ducks, and there's none.